Hello guys, welcome to my channel for new battle report. So second game of Saturday, practice day, so to say. I was facing Gabriel, former ETC Switzerland player. So interesting to play against him, good player. I played against him once before in a tournament, so it was second time, and he bring with him the Demon Legion. So my list didn't change at all, it's the same that the previous battle report, and he was playing the following list: Nomen of Savar with the manifestation that gives him hatred, Master Thaumaturgy, Maw of Akan, Master Evocation with manifestation that gives him resilience 6 and 5 armor save, 3 units of Lemurs, if I remember correctly, all of them with unnatural roots, the big one I think full command, the rest at least standard, 10 succubi, with some manifestation, I don't remember which one, but wasn't relevant in this case, 3 orders with the mirrored scale, 5 plus armor save, 2 times the Ord Treasure, so I think that's the one. I hope I picked the correct name, as that's the one with the middle base, 100 and 100 the square base, 2 Blazing Glory and 1 unit of 5 Sirens. We play the marching column, so again we choose the map, pick something interesting, something other than the usual frontline clash, and then we roll for scenario and rolled capture the flag. Spell selection, so obviously for the demon a very strong magic phase with double master. Here you see how strong it is. I mean, range damage, you have Wrath of God, Try to Face, breast weapon in Toma, and then in evocation you have the hereditary plus the D3 against the leadership, which is really strong from distance, and also close combat. I mean, that's what you can expect with double master. Reroll to hit, reroll to wound, breast weapon, smite the unbeliever, so also very strong. So definitely I have to be careful with his magical setup, and we know that demon are good because obviously you cast with 2 dice, you get an additional +1, and then you also get additional tokens. So yeah, I think he totally makes the most of his magical abilities. A short matchup analysis, because I didn't have much time to think about this game. He just bring his list on the day. I didn't saw the list before, so I wanted to reflect that and not do after the action a big matchup analysis. It wouldn't have been fair, to be honest, and I will just then maybe list a bit more lessons at the end of the battle report. So this is also supposed to reflect the kind of preparation I was able to do before the game. In this case, not much, just a couple of minutes before the game. So flags, definitely it's better for me. I have less scoring than him, I have more mobility, and he has quite a lot of scorings that I can pick that are pretty slow. So I think flag, definitely I was happy. He's better than me in close combat, I guess, because I have difficulties to deal with the Maw of Akan. I have really nothing that can fight the Maw in a 1-1 battle. And even in combo charge, I mean, the hunter can go against the Maw because the Maw is better than me and he can just challenge out. So then I would need something like a giant double scratapult or this kind of combo charges, which is obviously kind of hard to have. So definitely the Maw is not easy for me to deal with for my list. And also Omen of Savar can take the challenges with no big problem. He has to be careful with some of my unit, but definitely the Omen's unit and the Maw are not so easy for me in CC, so that's why thinking about flags I was pretty happy, because if it would have been like a hold the ground, something where you need board control, I would have struggled much more because I have difficulty to fight these pieces. Obviously the fact that I have difficulties to deal with these two characters means that I was going to play wide to force him to make choices. That's obviously one of the strategy that I often use. When you can't fight really something, you need to force him to make choice, and he might do mistakes and then move and don't do anything too good. If you give him an easy choice, meaning you are in a corner or stuff like that, he can just know what to do. If you are giving him multiple choice, maybe he will do some mistakes in the choice. Yeah, like I said before, strong magic that can kill easily my hunter. I mean, he can in one phase he can kill the BSB or kill general, and that can hurt my list. We have a similar number of threats, so that's often something that I was able to say at the end of the battle. I had the feeling that the fact that I had so many threats, if you compare with my 2 previous battles against the Beasters, the number of threats was lower than what I had, and I was able to take advantage from that because, I mean, I'm able to play wide and threat from all around, and then if you don't have enough unit to react, you are in trouble. And in this case, he's playing the same game that I do, meaning it's an MSU, has a lot of threats, very mobile, a lot of his charge range are bigger than mine. I mean, Blazing Gloria 8, the Chariot are very annoying because of the movement 10. So yeah, this will be very interesting because we play somehow a bit the same game. I mean, I'm more mobile than him, especially in the first turn because of the Vanguard Scout and ambush. So definitely I'm more mobile than him. But then he can charge more far away than me. Maybe he's a bit more resilient, and also his magical setup makes his range damage better than mine, which will be very interesting. So deployment, marching column is started on the right, so he won the map roll and took this part of the map because, I mean, it was not too problematic for him, the 2 watered forest, and then impassable was more or less the same for both of us. He gave me the impassable in my deployment zone, and obviously nobody likes that. So I had the hill and impassable in my part, also ruined here. And then I decided to make him start to deploy. I wanted to see where he goes. Somehow I know I needed to play avoidance. That's how this list works. Especially since I can't really fight these 2 pieces. So I wanted to see where he goes. So he put Blazing Glory down, the Chariot, Lemurs, Sirens. I had to start with Giant, Yetis, Scratapult, and then 3 tribesmen, and I guess after that he dropped everything. So we had the 2nd unit of Lemurs, more of Khan, Sukubai, 3rd unit of Lemurs with the Omen, Orders, Chariot, and Blazing Glory. And how I reacted to that, I put 2nd unit of Yetis. I wanted to exploit the gap, so what surprised me very much, he decided after dropping everything, I'm going to give you first turn. So meaning I could counter deploy and get first turn. And obviously he gave me a lot of free spots to insert my hunters, and this was done on purpose to force me, so to allow me to go behind his line, because his game plan, like he told me after the game, was to then be able to counter push, and if I don't have anything to protect my back line, I would be under problem. So that was a bit his risky game plan, and that was always going to be very interesting. So here I put 2 Yetis, Fish God Scouting, 2nd Giant, Golf Gag BSB, Jared the General within the Tigers, 2nd Scratapult, my 3 other scoring, and the Shaman. So I was going to start the game. So my Vanguard, obviously I make sure I can go into these nice spots to use as soon as I could the breast weapon onto Blazing Glory, here to threaten the Hoarder from behind. And obviously, if you see, the scoring unit are pretty exposed at the back, so I was thinking already about ambush. But then he blocked here all the possible way for me to go in this good spot to attack his unit. So that was well done from him, I guess. After we see this, I think it would have maybe been smart. But yeah, I was scary. Putting Fish Gut here could have been an option. Then March here first turn. But then the problem is I'm somehow trapped because he can just block me. I cannot escape really. So yeah, that could have been an option, but I was scared that between Sukubai, the Mo, and the Impassable, he could just block me in this zone and I couldn't really escape. So I was a bit scared to do that. So here blocked me to go. I cannot move behind the spot. So that's my Vanguard. My turn 1. So I used the Siren as a cover. Basically the only unit that could charge me is the Chariot, but I cannot close the door. He cannot close the door as well, meaning it's an impossible charge. So that was fine for me. These 2 units are out of arc of the Chariot. Here I stayed pretty in the back. I think I could have been more aggressive and say let's use the 2 Yetis, put them here to double chaff these units, and then maybe push with 2 giants, catapult, try to gain an early advantage, because you see this flank is pretty weak, and that's where he has all his scoring unit. So definitely that was where I was going to attack in the early stages. So maybe here I could have been slightly more aggressive by using the Yetis, chaffing, and then preparing 3-4 counter charges, just to say to him, if you don't charge, you're in trouble. If you charge, you're in trouble as well. Left flank, I'm being more careful, so I'm advancing a little bit my scoring base, gaining the 18, which is short now, the range for the breast weapon, onto Jared, and also Golfgag here in the middle, just making sure if he pushes, then I can charge him possibly in back and front, so I just want to force him to make choice. And yeah, Golfgag and this giant just making sure that the Maw doesn't move too aggressively towards my left flank. Magic Phase end up even onto the Blazing Glory, does 1 wound. Then I put a breast weapon strength 4 onto Jared, so I was pretty excited about that, but breast weapon did nothing. Spear, I throw a spear, I guess I did another wound onto the Blazing Glory, so 3 wounds remaining, and then he dispels the Wrath of God. Scratapple kill a couple of lemurs, and the other one already misfires. He's turn 1, so no charges for him. He need to react. So what he decided to do was to move pretty defensively. So failing a march check for this unit, and I guess the order as well. So he just pushed slightly forward with the orders, and then make sure that if Golfgag or Jared, no, Golfgag can charge, then he has a couple of counter charges. So I cannot afford to do that. And Jared was looking this way, obviously, because of the Blazing Glory. So he just moves around me to threaten me. So that's his idea. I didn't move much with the Ogre Khans, so I think I did my job well here. And here just move back, just to make sure that if I charge, he can punish me in return. So pretty defensive turn 1 for the demons. In Magic Phase, Touch of the Reaper against the BSB did nothing. Trial of Phase again against the BSB did nothing. I dispel Wrath of God, and then he gets another spell, Breast Weapon Strength 5, which did 12 hits against the BSB, 6 wounds, and I saved 5 of them on the 4+4+, so I was really lucky. As you can see, I mean, I dispelled the Wrath of God, took 3 damage. I could have already lost my BSB turn 1. It's so scary, this Magic Phase from the demon. So my turn. That's what I was telling you the game before. The fact that the Yetis are pretty cheap, they are expendable. I'm cheaper than the Sirens, so I'm just charging them to clean the chaff, and then I can easily flee after he charges me with one of the unit. The Golfgag, I need to react because I saw that between the orders and my dogs it was a pretty small distance, so I was already feeling under pressure, and I needed to react. So I decided to bring Golfgag out of line of sight of the Blazing Glory. Nobody other than the orders can charge me, and if he charge me, I have a couple of counter charge ready, Scratapple, dogs, Fishgut, Jared in the back. So that was a bit the idea. Again, out of arc with everybody, continuing to cast. I wanted really to kill this Blazing Glory as soon as I could, to free up space to move around with my scoring unit and move out of this zone, which is pretty blocked between Impassable and the side of the board. So I really wanted to move out of this, but I needed to kill some unit in order to achieve that. At the right part of the board I was feeling more confident, so I used the Yetis to be out of arc of the Chariot, just putting some unit in counter charge, trying to bait him to charge me, and as I've told you, 2 Kinitoya are in the back. In the Magic Phase, I'm getting another handoff even onto the Blazing Glory, but this time he does 2 ward save. Then I try to put the Breast Weapon onto Golfgag, he dispelled that, and then I'm getting Wrath of God in. Don't think it was the best choice in this Magic Phase. I should have maybe put an Hereditary onto Golfgag to help him a little bit in close combat. Wasn't definitely the best choice. Then shooting, getting another wound onto the left Blazing Glory with Jared, so I was pretty happy about that. And close combat, I kill 3, he kill 1 of me, he flees, I irresistible charge, but still within line of sight of some unit. But I guess, oh no, Chariot was also seeing me, but I didn't roll enough. I think I need a very high roll to contact the lemurs, but I wanted to try. And also worth mentioning, this position of the BSB is not optimal. It should have been slightly more to the left, just to avoid the combo charge, avoid line of sight, but I still had space to maneuver to be a bit more left, just to minimize the contact and get only 2 rather than 3. So I guess that wasn't optimal at all. His turn 2, the orders charge my BSB. He puts the Mo in the front. It charges as well. I need to say that before, maybe it charges as well with the Lemurs against the Yetis. And here, I think that wasn't the best idea. I decided to flee, but should have stayed, because Yetis against Lemur is pretty open. And here, as you can see, he was able to exploit this mistake by putting the Mo in the front and just saying to me, yeah, even if you rally, I can then get you. So that wasn't the best idea, I guess. I should have stayed with the Yeti and just try my luck. I mean, he has only strength 3, only 4 model hitting. Could have a chance even to win the game, to win this battle, and then countercharge with the... I have 2 good position with Skin Eater, so that was not the right decision. I moved slightly the Omen to give some buffs, moved the Chariot back and Blazing Glory back again to cover my possible countercharge, so he's in a good spot because everything from me that can countercharge will be exposed to another countercharge from him. Here you see my Wrath of God in the middle of his line, hoping to do some damage. And the Blazing Glory uses my position of the 2 Yetis to just hide behind and force me to charge him, which is not something I can really do. Magic Phase, he gets reroll to hit onto the Mo, so he was scared that I would charge with Fish Gut. Fish Gut, maybe it's the only character in my list that can fight the Mo. Obviously I would need some luck, but he has the Dominion, so minimize leadership, I guess. And then he gives reroll to hit, so I let that off. He also gave -1 strength onto Fish Gut. I let that off as well, so I was pretty okay with that because I wasn't charged either. And then he gets, with 4 dice against 5, reroll to wound Lethal Strike on the Order, which was something I wanted to avoid. But when you have no Binding Scroll, you are always at risk in this kind of combat that your opponent is going to get buffed. So that is scary because Lethal Strikes on the grinding and all the attacks, it's really, really scary. Close combat, Golf Gag, sorry. I rolled 111, so 3 mirror against me, and I did 1 wound to me. He did nothing to me. I think I did nothing to him. And I passes my leadership check with -1. So I was okay and ready to countercharge, but yeah, I was lucky not to get any. He didn't get any of the Lethal Strike off, so I was pretty lucky. My turn 3. So I get some charges. Scratapple countercharge in the flank. I reposition Jared here, again continue the same tricks, try to use the breast weapon, also able to give buffs to this close combat if I need to, wanted to keep my options open. Most likely I will use the breast weapon in the close combat throw because I need really to win this one. Yeti's rallied, I want to force him to charge me, so I'm looking at the flank of the orders, just saying to him, if you don't charge me, I'm free to charge next turn. Position Fish Gut to get a spear shot in the flank with no cover. And then I move forward with both. Chaff better this time. In this case, if you charge me, I can countercharge both. I charge with the Crabman into the Lemurs and move the Toad out of line of sight, just ready to charge him. So Chariot can charge anything because of the wheel. He cannot impact the Giant, so I was feeling okay. Yeah, and I guess that's it. And this Giant, so rather than looking, I couldn't pass here. I had nothing too good to do. I decided, let's go for the scoring. I need to help because Kinito alone won't get the Lemurs. No chance, I need some help. So I decided to use the Giant, push here, and I decided I have enough things to slow down the Mo, so I can use my Giant to get some scoring units. That was my idea. The Magic Phase. Get another Hand of Even, does another wound onto the Blazing Glory, but still 2 wounds left. Then I put the Breast Weapon Strength 5 onto Golf Gag, try to help him. He dispels the smites. I didn't get Hereditary off because I was scared with reroll to wound. He might do more Lethal Strikes, so I think it would have been too risky to give him -1 to wound in close combat in this case. Spear, so I'm not able to do another wound here, so he still has 2 wounds left. Here I do 2 wounds to the Mo, which is good. And then Scratapple, second one, also gets a misfire, won't shoot anymore. In a close combat, so Lemurs against Keen Eater, we do 1 each. So yeah, it's a push, because I'm unbreakable. I was losing, but I'm unbreakable. And here, I did 6 wounds to him before he strikes, with press weapon strength 5, impacted strength 5, all my attacks. 6 wounds. He did 2 wounds back onto my BSB with 2 models. So yeah, kills the BSB. Unfortunately, meaning he loses by 5, and he fails the leadership, loses another 5 wounds, and there is 1 order with 1 wound remaining, which is frustrating because he has counter charge and I can't flee, so that was frustrating. And here I did a big mistake. There is 6 inch, there is not more than 6 inch between them and the hunter. I have nobody around to give leadership to them. And luckily for me, I was able to pass the leadership, but I guess I will have other problems because I'm also within 6 with the Scratapult. So I should have actually, after these mistakes, reformed the Scratapult to give the flank and make sure that I will be out of 6, because it's really important that I keep this unit as a counter-charge threat. His turn 3, we counter-charge with the Chariot, so as I've told you, I didn't reform, so I'm still within 6, so I will get another hard leadership. The more charges the Yetis, and here my thought process was the following: I could stay, but most likely he would heal himself back, and that's annoying. So I decided to flee. The idea was, 1, I can possibly escape. 2, if I don't escape, he will end up in the ruin, meaning he will get some DTs. If he loses another couple of wounds, and then I can countercharge with Fish Gut, maybe, just maybe, I have a chance. So I fled, he catches me, passes the leadership to reform, gets no wound from DT, so alright. Here, just move around with the Blazing Glory, looking at my Hunter, just if I charge, he can countercharge. In the back, he was in combat, Chariot didn't move much, I guess. He was just ready to countercharge me, but I guess he didn't move much. And here, Blazing Glory decided to charge me because he was trapped, so no big chance. Here you see the Wrath of God finally comes down, did a couple of wounds to the Lemur, a lot of wounds to the Succubi, and some wounds to the Lemurs, but that was it. The Magic Phase, worth mentioning, the Chariot was a 7 Swift Stride to contact with the Scratapult. He gets a Breast Weapon, Strength 4 onto the Chariot in. Then he gets also -1 Toughness onto my General. And he tries to get reroll to wound. I dispel that. Close combat, the Breast Weapon did 4 wound alone, Strength 4 onto my Scratapult. And then he did the last wound, kills me, so I can't finish the order. That's problematic. And then what else? Yeah, Blazing Glory, I was just losing by 1. I did 1 wound, he did 1 wound to me. I lost by 1. It's a 7, no reroll. I failed. So I flee, he catches me, but I will be able to countercharge. That's what I do. Double countercharge here. Charge the Toad to pin down the Chariot. Charge with my Giant onto the Lemurs to help finish the scoring unit. I know I need to get this scoring unit. And here, yeah, my thought process was, the Mo is far away from the rest, no combat buff, and since I lost, I forgot to tell you, but I lost Scratapult, Panic the Dog out of the table, so stupid, but that was always going to happen when I did such mistake. And in this case, I thought, I have no way to avoid. I mean, he has 3 turns left, he can push, get a scoring, I'm in a big trouble. He has 2 units to hunt down all this scoring unit. So I thought, if I have a chance, it's maybe to send Fish Gut in, do a couple of wounds, win by charge flank, couple of wounds, and then maybe make him pop on the combat result. Unlikely, but I think I was pretty desperate at this time. So I took the charge on the 7th Swift Stride, but failed, unfortunately. I would have been very curious to see how it goes. Here I needed to send the Mage Bunker to chaff the Chariot, move the Mage here to cast some spell onto Blazing Glory and the Orders, and that was it. In the Magic Phase, I use Hand of Even and kill the remaining wound, so I get my first flag. Then I put the Breast Weapon, I guess, onto Jared against Blazing Glory, but he dispels that. I try a Comet, I fail. I don't wound him this time, I guess, with the throwing hunting spear. And close combat, here we do 1 wound each. He passes the reform, but loses 2 wounds due to combat result. Here I kill him, and here I think I kill him and just reform. Yeah, so pretty positive on the right. On his turn 4, he decided to charge my giant with the lemurs. So he thought, yeah, he couldn't escape the way he reformed, so he just thought, let's charge, I have a chance. So he charged. Here he's in combat, here I'm free, and here he decided to push forward with the Maw, didn't suffer any DTs. Here he charged the chaff, and here just push forward to cast spell, Blazing Glories, move around, and Sukubai didn't move much at all. So in his magic phase, what I'm trying to do is just to save my mage, but it won't be easy. So he gets first a breast weapon off onto the Blazing Glory. Luckily for me, it's only strength 3, so I still have a chance to survive. Then, what did he get off? Trial phase, 2 dice against 3. He get that off, but fortunately for me, did nothing. But then a touch of the Reaper kills the mage. And since I fucked up again with the 6-inch with my general flees off the board, failing the 9 with no reroll. So yeah, I'm getting punished by my huge mistakes here, but you know what I like to say very often on my channel, you need to pay the heavy price for your mistakes in order to remember them. So that's what happened here. Wasn't careful 2-3 times actually with the 6-inch space, and then I just get punished. What else happened? And then he still had a couple of dice left, tried a reroll to wound, but I was able to dispel that. Close combat, because he still had, I kept my dice for hereditary, which was like an auto kill onto the mage. Strength 7 it was just 2+ you die, so I tried to keep that, and that's why I didn't dispel Touch of the Heart. Close combat, Chariot, here I did 2 wounds to him, he did 1 to me, but I guess he's still alive. And the giant here, unfortunately for me, he rolls well, did 2 wounds to me with like 8, how much? 8 strength 3 attacks, 2 wounds, not bad. I'm doing only 2 in return, I lose by 3, I flee, he catches me, I lose 300 point giant on this move, so I wasn't too happy about that, but what can I do? And here he breaks me, I flee, he just passes the restraint check. My turn 5. So here what I need to do, it's pretty easy. I already lost a couple of, here's a picture actually at the end of Demon's turn 5. So my idea in my turn 5 was move Fishgut here, get discoring. Here he overrun onto the flank of my Keen Eater after having killed my giant, so that's not perfect as well. I fail an 11 charge with the Scratapult in the back. I march giant here. I have still 1 scoring left here, and here I use the scoring to chaff 2 units at once, and I guess that was it. And in his turn 5, he charges the scoring unit. I passes the terror, breaks me, kills me, reforms. Here I guess, I don't know what he tries to do. I guess he makes me flee or something. I don't know exactly what he did, but he failed charge somehow. And let's see what I've written in his magic phase. In his magic phase, he did the breast weapon, strength 5. I don't remember where. I tried against Fishgut. I mean, did nothing. Trial phase against Fishgut, did nothing. Then he was able to get -1 random. Did -1 strength on him, so not too worrying. And he failed the comet and the lemurs. He did nothing to me. I did 1 wound to him, and here he killed my Keen Eater. So that's my last turn after this picture. And basically I'm going to go for the secondary, because I'm going to lose my 3rd flag. I've got 2 flags, but if I can kill these 2, it's 4 against 3, so at least I will win secondary. So I cannot afford really to send, for example, giant here and Scratapult here. I need to be sure I can kill the lemurs. So that's why I'm going to send everything into the lemurs, just to make sure I can get secondary. So my turn 6, double charge here, I charge here. Close combat, I will kill everything, and then his turn 6, I overrun off the board with both. He charged the Keen Eater, kills it, panic my Scratapult who flees, and that's the end of the game. So bloody battle, and it ended up being 8-12 because I'm winning on the flags, which helps a lot because I lost almost all my army. And I took all the scoring almost, as only one unit of Lemurs remaining, so I think that's at least a satisfaction. And I took also both Blazing Glory and the Sirens. Post-game analysis. So it was not an easy matchup because we have a similar number of threats. So it neutralizes perfectly my strengths of having so many units on the table. I think I had no tools really to deal with the Maw. I expected a difficult game against the Maw, but yeah, it was the case. I had one open to try to pin him down, but still unlikely that I can kill him. The odds are in his favor. I didn't have really the tools to deal with the Maw, to be honest. My scoring base was at the wrong spot. I was really blocked in this part of the map, not being able to escape, to move much. I wasn't able really to move out of this corner, so I think here it was a mistake, probably at the deployment stage. And also to expose after I put my hunter within his line. Basically, it was pretty weak what was staying behind, and basically I had nothing really to deal with the orders. My focus on the secondary, at least something that pays off. I think my opponent has some regrets here because he was very static, both with Succubi and Lemur. If you check between turn 1 and 4, the Succubi didn't move much at all. I think it was possible to escape. A micro, bad management from my part on the panic check. 3 times I didn't play the optimal move to avoid this 6-inch check. And this cost me big because I lost the dogs that had a good counter charge onto the chariot, and that would have helped a lot to be better on the left flank and have a chance. Not to lose the level 4 and so on, so that would have helped a lot. I think that was a big mistakes. The first one, the BSB within 6 of the dogs, and then not reforming Scratapult to be out of the 6 of the dogs. And then the third one, obviously General jumping out of the board because of the death of the mage. PSB move, I've told you, could have been a bit better, slightly more to the left, to avoid getting 3 orders in combat. Only 2 would have been better. And obviously on the list, I think that it's an avoidance list, a bit too much avoidance probably. And in this kind of games, I was lucky to have a scenario that allows me to play around. But if I make a short analysis of my 3 games with this list, more or less, because the first game against Lichmeister was also a similar list, you see that I had 2 times breakthrough, 1 time flag. So that's 3 scenarios where you don't need board control. And I think that suits the list perfectly because it's mostly avoidance, how this list like to play. And if it's something more with a control of the map, I would struggle much more because I don't have, I guess, enough a punch to really deal with some threats, some strong character, Death Star, monster, all this kind of stuff. So I think I could try some new version of the list with a bit more punch to be able to be slightly better in combat and not only playing avoidance. I think it's cool to play the movement game with Keen Eater, Hunter, Yetis. I've liked a lot the impact of the Yetis, but then I need to think about the rest, how I could have the most close combat impact to be better at board control, I would say, and also protecting my unit, not only dancing around, but also have some strong combat unit. So that was it for this game. Obviously disappointing to have lost this game. I think I could have done better, and I have a last picture of the deployment. I wanted to talk about what were my options. So basically, if you consider that, I think according to my memory, I've dropped these 4 units. So after that, I had plenty of choice. I went with the wide approach, 2 corner basically, some flexible unit in the middle to force him to make choice, left, right. That was my pre-game analysis, so I stick to that plan. But I think another option could have been to basically just left Fishgut, maybe the general, but I'm not sure about that. We could discuss about the general or not, but just profit from the space to go maybe with Fishgut in this spot. I think that was still worth it. And then the rest have maybe a solid base on the left. I mean, if I have double Scratapult on the hill plus a giant here, the Maw cannot come too near to me. and then be very strong on the right part of the board where I could put my character here because it's marching column. Then I can drop heavily here with my scoring, and then turn 1 move around here and play on this small part of the field where I could have an advantage because he's not that strong in combat. So first one, aggressively chaff, push, try to gain an advantage and clean that corner, and it will always get hard for the Mo, and especially the unit on the left, to move towards the right part of the board. I can ambush here and be very, very strong on this flank and play on this zone and basically make sure that the Mo cannot come near me because, yeah, I have some tools to play around. And yeah, I don't know about the general. If I would have kept maybe the general also, we could discuss, because general within the tiger could also have been good on the right flank. But if we assume I started with these 4 drops, then I think maybe it's better to just say we will put fish gut somewhere here, and then the wolf unit, I don't know, maybe within the ruin and do something. But I think this spot is a shitty spot. Here it's a good spot, but it's also at risk. We can discuss, maybe the general can go here, BSB stay within the ruin, the dogs nearby, and then the rest here, and shift towards the right part of the board. Could have been an idea, could have been, maybe, I don't know. But I think that would have been maybe a better plan. Definitely this part of the board was a bit shitty because of the impassable. I'm blocked. If I can go, I can't really move out of this part. It will be very difficult. And I think this part of the board just suits me better because it's harder for him to attack some slow unit on the left part of the board, which will take time to move to the other part of the board. So I think that could have been an option, and at the same time still exploit this spot, because I think that is something I need to take advantage of. I'm not sure that my opponent's plan to let me start to insert my hunter turn 1 was the right idea. I think that was a mistake. I think he's much better off after dropping to say, okay, I will take turn 1 and I can push, and then I have no way of coming between the lines without risking a charge, which is definitely much better because you don't like to have some hunters in your back. So definitely, I guess I should have exploited this mistake by deploying better. But I think on my opponent's part, there are 2 regrets. First one is giving this spot. I still think it's a huge risk, and second one is not moving more with the scoring unit away from the risk zone. So that's it for this battle report. I hope you liked the battle, and talk to you soon on my channel. Bye bye.